broadcast in the midday. What up, everybody? Welcome everybody into the room. Coop, how you doing, sir?
Thankful. Happy to be here.
Good, man. We were thinking about things to talk about, and, we were on the phone, and then it just
Right.
came down the pipeline that Dipset and the LOX are actually going to do a versus together, and we figured this would be a very, very interesting thing to talk about, or event to talk about. It's going to be live in Madison Square Garden. Versus announced it yesterday. The LOX, Diplomats, they're going to be facing off in Madison Square Garden August 3rd. I believe that might be a Thursday. But what are some of your thoughts, man? And people are already in the chat saying the LOX. Let us know in the chat who y'all think is going to win this matchup. Go ahead, Coop.
I'm really happy that they did this, first of all. They've been talking about doing it for the culture, but I mean, it's supposed to be like for the hip hop culture and then branching off into the extensions of the hip hop culture.
Right.
They really haven't held consistent to their theme. This is more consistent with the theme, I think, of what people had in mind in the hip hop community for Versus when they started Versus. And I like the thought process of this one because, like you said just before when we went on live, nobody really asked for this, but when we got it, we were all happy and it made sense.
Right.
So those were my first thoughts.
Rest assured, the best is here.
Like this actually being a good one and a good opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of piggyback off of that, yeah, I agree with you. I think that this is one of the more interesting matchups. Everybody in the chat is saying LOX. And sorry for that little blip there. I don't know how that J. Cole freestyle still ended up on here, but, it's always good to hear that in the middle of the day, too. But people are saying Dipset, catalog is longer. LOX got 2 hot albums. That's what Andre Collins says. I'm going to get to some of the other comments, too, but that is a very interesting point. Are we talking about just specific albums from the group? I don't think we are, because at that point we just talk about Diplomatic Immunity and Diplomatic Immunity 2, right? So We're talking about their individual stuff, so...
So let's unpack that right quick, too.
Mm-hmm.
Neither group has, like, extensive catalog material in terms of albums together.
Right.
And so what comes into play in my mind immediately is the solo artist material within the group members and also the mixtape material.
Right.
Like, are those things going to be entered as well? I think that makes it for a way more interesting and more of a toss-up matchup because I'm going to tell you what I realized last night because, I was doing my thing, making some limoncello for the business. And I was up listening and I started going through Cam's catalog. Cam might be the most underrated hit maker in the history of rap, Mike. He might be.
Cam is really understated. And you know what? And it's funny you say that. Me and my homie Brandon, man, we were talking a couple of days ago. And we were talking about that run that Jim Jones had. And so Jim Jones, he's really one of the pioneers in that whole DVD era where he would put out an album and have a DVD on the other side. Like he was a character. Like Jim Jones was everywhere.
So, Mike, that's another thing I was about to say. It's funny, between these two camps, the guy who's probably the worst rapper made the biggest song, and that's Jim Jones. Because We Fly High is an immediate victory. That's what I'm saying. If stuff like that gets played, it makes it way more interesting for Dipset than people realize.
Santana's Town is an automatic win. Santana's Town is a win. Now, I know everybody in the chat saying the LOX. And in a vacuum, I think a lot of us, we get caught up in the fact of bars, right? It's clear who's the better rhymers of the two crews. But if we start breaking this thing down, and like I told you offline, I think Dipset, they have to play the right songs. They have the least room for error, but they have the biggest chance for home runs. You know what I'm saying?
So there's a lot to unpack. So another thing that I want to say is that between the two groups, and you can hear it in the music, Dipset got more of that stadium flow to their music, Mike. And this is a versus battle. And they're going to be in Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
And so, like you want Dipset anthem, Mike.
Dipset anthem. I really mean it.
Ooh, I really mean it.
Yeah. These are hard records, man. What are the LOX gonna beat Oh Boy with? I mean, even if you
Here's the
go
thing
there,
about it, Mike. It's not that just that those records are big; it's that they sound
they
big.
sound big
The
as
Lox
hell.
don't. They sound big. That stadium flow, Mike. And
What?
the Lox, a lot of the Lox biggest and best records, although they might be inherently better in a lot of ways, especially on the lyrical side of things, they're not necessarily bigger in the sound and the scope. That's what I'm saying. It's like listen to the songs that we just named. What is the
Mm-hmm.
Lox gonna do? And I mean, I'm just devil's advocate. What are the Lox gonna do when they play "Oh Boy," Dipset anthem, "We Fly High"? Like they can hit you with about 5 or 6 joints, Mike, where it's just like you're gonna be. Mike, you know what, and this is what I mean about how Cam is understated as a hit maker, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Cam was making hits early, like Mike
Early.
Horse and Carrot is a hit. What Means the World to You? I was listening to What Means the World to You the other night. I was like, yeah, this shit's a banger still. Like this shit dope.
Yo, What Means the World is hard. Quan
Yeah.
Newick says, "Dope Money." I love that record from the Rough Riders anthem, where not Rough Riders anthem, Rough Riders compilation, where Styles and Kiss are going back and forth. I personally believe those two guys have the best back and forth game in hip hop. I know you say Ghost and Ray. They second to me. I love Ghost. Ghost is one of my favorite rappers, but they're back and forth. They sound like one person. Who
No,
else
I might
in
have
here?
to give it to you. I might have to give it to you just on the straight back and forth.
On
I
the
was
straight
just
back and
thinking in
forth, they
terms-
sound like one individual. It's awesome, man. It's incredible. Hold on one second. Damn, what just happened? I just lost my screen for a second. Hold on one second. Oh, I see it. I don't know why the screen just went away from me. I was trying to go to the chat. Someone said something I wanted to highlight. Super Rockin' DJ Smash says this is about celebrating the groups. Definitely, it's about celebrating the groups. And but we would be remiss and naive to think that people aren't going to be looking at this, seeing what record is played after what record. Like you said, Dipset Anthem is a hard one for the LOX to play something
really mean
after, and I really mean it. And like you said, a lot of that's because of production and Dipset between Heat Makers, Just Blaze, or whatever. Like they just have strong sounding records. I think that the LOX biggest sounding record is going to be the Benjamins, and I do think the LOX play the Benjamins.
It is. First of all, Mike, that was one of my thoughts too. They have to play their verse from the Benjamins.
But they got two verses, right?
Kiss and Sheik,
Yeah.
Kiss and Sheik got to play their verses from the Benjamins. We Gonna Make It got to get played.
Yeah.
Those were the two ones where I was like, okay, they got to play those to make it a conversation when Dipset plays those records we just talked about. Mike, what they got for Get 'Em Girls? Off Purple Haze?
Or what if he goes Killer Cam?
Call me, I do the shooting.
Yeah, man. Or what if he goes Killer Cam, Killer Cam, Killer? Yeah.
Killer Cam is my favorite Cam record.
Right. Yeah, man.
That's what I'm saying, man. Cam is understated as a hit maker. Like Cam got bangers. Like Cam alone, when I was listening last night, Cam got about 6, 7, 8 bangers that he could throw out there from his catalog that's viable in this battle. And that's not going to like Santana's Town. That's not going to We Fly High. That's not going to Dipset Anthem.
Well, see, that's where I was going to go with this, right? I think that you're going to have all members of these crews kind of spread their material out evenly. So with that being said, Sheik's going to have to be included on, a lot of the 20 of these joints. And I think that kind of makes it different for what people kind of see in their head. But if Dipset, if they do it evenly, because we're probably not going to get all those Cam records we're talking about, right? But if you get like an even amount of Cam, Jules, Jim Jones, and the stuff together, they don't lose anything. You know what I'm saying?
You're right, they don't. And so also I'm going to say something too, like Kiss and Styles have been good, solid album makers, but their albums aren't littered with bangers.
Yeah. And they don't have those features either, because Jim Jones, again, a person that's been out there and be out there a lot as an artist, he's got a lot of features that he could actually, dig into. You paused for a minute. You there? Coop? I think we lost Coop. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, we lost Coop. Let me get him back on the line, and we're gonna go ahead and continue this. The LOX are a one-hit wonder. So it looks like in the chat, man, you guys got the LOX. You got Holiday. Yeah, that's a banger too. The LOX hands down. Dipset got more bangers, says Jason Jamie. Let's get our man back on.
Yo.
All right, yeah. You on? I don't know what happened, man. We got all kind of technical issues during the day. But yeah, what were you saying though? You were in the middle of a sentence.
Shoot, I don't even like.
We were just talking about just the features, and I don't really know if
the Jim Jones joint was Schoolboy Q from back in the day. Like Jones has been around, like doing joints with cats for a minute. That's pretty hard. I think Alchemist did that joint. That was a banger.
I mean, you got Certified Gangsters. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot. And what Joel Santana got those mixtapes he did with Wayne. I don't think he's gonna play any of that stuff, but.
Mike, I was about to say he can play his verse from "You Don't Know Me" off the Carter 3.
Exactly.
They can go south with it a little bit because they got the Wayne relationship, but people forget Camry did "Bout It" with Master P too, so they can hit like regions and stuff too.
Yeah, man.
Kiss got that verse on Lil Jon's album. You know, they need to go looking for stuff like that, like some stuff that's gonna bang.
Well, you know what? And also, since you mentioned that, Styles got that verse on Rick Ross's BMF too.
Yeah, gotta play that.
That's gotta be in there. But I don't think Sheik has done a lot of. I mean, they've been very consistent with the material they put out, but Sheik doesn't have a lot of those features like those other 5 MCs do. You know what I'm saying? And I think that makes it different, and that's what makes it even more interesting because
it's gonna hurt them in the battle.
I think it is. Yeah. I mean, do you play Get At Me, Dog? Because I think that's a big Sheik moment.
I don't know if you can do that. I mean, it's just a hook.
2 Chainz did it, but yeah, I don't think it goes over well. I mean, with the fact that DMX just passed, maybe it could be a moment to pay homage to DMX.
Yeah,
but
you want to know what I would prefer, Mike? If you really want to know the truth, as them as a trio, I mean, 2 of their best performances are on DMX's first 2 albums. So if they want to do their verse, niggas done started something.
I would rather them do that. Yeah, niggas done started something.
I told you, Mike. The verses from Blackout that was Kiss's coming out party, but that was kind of like style. That was their coming out party. It was like, man, these dudes' spit game is crazy because they're spitting just as crazy as X and J are.
So did you play the song from Volume 2? Do you play Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah, you can. Styles' verse on Reservoir Dogs is pretty sick. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? We know from the verses that Jadakiss and Fab did that Jada is very aware of his catalog and does a really good job of picking. Because once again...
Well, that's another thing too, Mike. Jada's already thrown some stuff into the ring too, and he's their strongest member with the most, versatile catalog. And so that's what I'm saying. Everybody's like saying the LOX, but it's like I would give Dipset a slight advantage in this battle. Actually, it could go either way. I would give Dipset the advantage about the things we talked about. Kiss has already done a versus, and Sheik really doesn't have enough material or as much material as the other 5 guys.
Well, Rosimus Keys says Sheik got a lot of solo hits. Everybody in the chat, let us know what Sheik solo hits that we're missing, or what features that we're missing out on. Andre Collins says Dipset is still relevant. LOX not so much.
I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't agree with either one of those statements.
I think I think you could see Dipset's influence a little bit more in today than you would see the LOX influence, if that makes any sense.
No, I don't know about that, Mike, because actually, you want to know what I thought about today? But right before we did this, when you
Mm-hmm.
look at Griselda, they actually have the bars that the Locks have, but they have like the drip and the swag that Dipset have.
The
And so I can
sound.
actually see both. Yeah, so I can see the relevancy of both camps and who the biggest camp in New York is right now, which is Griselda. So I think they're both relevant right now, and you can go look at Griselda. Like, I mean, look at, I mean, doesn't Westside kind of remind you of Cam a little bit? Not like in a good way, like with his
Yeah.
fashion sense and like how he's got just a certain way about him that people are drawn to. So they kind of have that effect like Dipset and the Locks like in one. That's why I told you, Mike, that's why I told you I would pick Griselda over both of those camps because they've been paying attention and have taken pieces from all their favorite camps that came before them. Like there's a little Locks in there, there's a little Mobb Deep in there, there's a little Dipset in there, there's a
No,
little
no,
Big
definitely.
Nas in there. You know what I'm saying?
I totally understand. And it's like they've studied all of that and they found a way to, in a sense, kind of be new and improved. There's even a little bit of no limit in there when it comes to the work ethic.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and the
Absolutely.
independence. I mean, we could talk days for days about those guys. But you know, one thing I will say though, and we spoke about this when Living Off of Experience came out, is last year, is how great that the Locks have been able to be over a span of time. And I don't know if we can say the same thing for the Diplomats as a collective. Like the Locks sound great, you know what I mean? And they've been able to keep their relevance is a little different because they're able to get on people's stuff now and they still do it and still sound like they sounded 20 years ago.
So
Like if you
Mike,
get a feature from, Santana now, it's not the same Santana from 20 years ago.
right. So Mike, with that being said, they kind of need to go like there were two records that I thought about that need to get played to show their relevancy in relationship to Dipset's relevancy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the joint with Griselda off the last album. Because that shit's hard. That's one of the 3 or 4 best songs on that album. It's a lot of people's favorite joint on that album. Forgot about the Locks, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they need to play that because I don't think Dipset has anything current that bangs like that. So there are about 3 or 4 joints off the Locks last album that they really need to consider playing, but they need to play that joint with Westside and Benny. And also, too, Kiss need to drop that verse off Gods Don't Bleed off Supreme Blientele.
Mm. Man, I think this is kind of like the Primo and RZA thing, and I would think that the Locks are more Primo in this, and Dipset are more of RZA in this. I think that we all know what Dipset's gonna play, but the Locks could play just about anything.
They can. They got a lot of places to go.
They got a lot of places to go, and that could be tricky for you too. You can overthink it, and you could, kind of have some missteps there. But Dipset, they don't have any room for error because they don't have the catalog that those guys have. And Janelle York just said Dipset don't have enough catalog. I think they got enough for 20. But if we're talking about the crews like in a vacuum, or we're just talking period, yeah, they don't have the catalog that the Locks have. But they
So
got
I'm
enough
gonna
for
say,
20.
so I'm gonna say this again. Cam's solo bangers is like the key to this battle because depending on how many he lets off, this becomes more even than you realize. Like it does. Like I know the
I
Locks
think
got
Jim
the
is the
catalog.
X factor. I'm with the thinking that Jim is the X factor, and he has to play the right records. Cam's gonna play the right records.
See, that's what I'm saying though. Like I know Locks got the catalog, but Dipset can win this. Like if how about this? If this is a 20-song battle, but Cam plays the right 6 or 7 records, they can still win this. But that's if he gets 6 or 7 records.
But see, I don't think Cam's even gonna play my favorite Cam song, which is "The Rock" off of "Come Home with
I'll
Me."
come home with me.
He's not
No,
even gonna play that.
hold on. You want to know what would be great? It would be great if he bought Siegel out.
Man, that would be awesome. Listen. I hope
That's
whoever's
your favorite
listening
Cam song?
make that happen, huh?
That's your favorite Cam song?
It is my favorite Cam song. And you know what? That's a perfect segue into what we were going to talk about before. We'll get back to this.
Right.
Nori's out here talking about that he would beat Beanie Sigel in the verses. And I don't know if Nori's trolling or whatever. But come on, man. We can't sit here and act like Siegel's catalog's not what it is. Now, that's another person. We talk about features. We talk about individual songs that he has, albums that he has. Like, come on, man. Nori, respectfully, you're not singing Sigel in no verses, man.
Mike, you remember In the Club off the Backstage?
I love that record. I was listening to that like a couple of weeks ago.
I'm back in the club with the snub, rolling up dubs, sipping on crisp out there.
Listen, man, Timbaland came through with that track, and that's another. And that's interesting you said that because not everybody can rock a Timbaland track and do it justice.
Mike,
and Sigel showed that he could do that.
Mike, he took a Timbaland track and made it grimy.
Mm-hmm. Siegel's special, man, and I think that
he's special, Mike, and he got special records, Mike. What you gonna do with those J records that he got? All them J records are special.
Rich Albo, says Nori got Pharrell beats. He does, but you know what? Those Neptune beats that Nori had, he didn't smash them.
What he got? What he got for Feel It in the Air, Mike? What he got for What's Your Life Like?
Nori has nothing for Feeling in the Air. What's your life like? Once again, it's on.
Stop, chill, Mike. Stop. Chill.
What are we talking about?
With a Sigel flow.
Listen, man. I mean, if Nori's whole thing is to set this up and so we can highlight Beans, I think that's great. But the notion that Nori would smash Beans in a versus is just not happening. Because again, just like if he want to play Band from TV, cool. Sigel could play that rock song that's on Cam's "Come Home with Me." That's better than Band from TV. What you gonna play? Pun's verse?
Mike, For the Fam. Late Night. I
wasn't a huge fan of For the Fam, but you know what he can play? He can play
Cadillac Truck twice. Two gun. Mac Pack Get twice.
Hey, what about the song with Redman?
Mike, One Shot Deal? That might be the best verse of his career. Eat that ass like Dama. Sieg, stretch that ass like Recliner.
Yeah, man. I don't think that's... So it's clear who we have in that matchup. I hope it actually happens because we need to highlight...
Mike, the verse from Where Have You Been off the Dynasty. The verse off This Can't Be Life, Mike.
Right.
Mike, come on.
And if we're talking features, what about Guess Who's Back? So you could play stuff like that, right?
Yes, Mike. Hold on. What was the joint with him and Bleak? Off Bleak's album.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Because they were going to do that Beans and Bleak project. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You want what? Off The Truth, Mike?
Him and Jay made great stuff together. He's made great stuff on his own. He's made great stuff with State Property. Really, what about Rock the Mic?
Mike, Bread and Butter with Grand Poobah. Rock the Mic with Freeway. All We Do with Free and J.
Yeah, What We Do, yeah. I forgot about What We Do. Yeah, man, that's just...
That's bananas.
Yeah, it's bananas. We need to get Sigel in there with somebody. I would have rather have seen Sigel and Jadakiss, to be perfectly honest with you.
That's what I wanted to see, but see, that's the thing. I don't think Styles can beat Sigel in a battle.
I don't think so either. I think that we really understate. I think over the years, Sigel has become probably one of the most underrated rappers in history. I don't either. But when you talk about these debates, they have somehow lowered Siegel's weight class or something. Because Siegel's in a heavyweight class.
He's a top 5 talent, Mike.
He's in a heavyweight class. And like we were saying in a previous show, I believe, he had the handicap of actually being signed to Rockefeller, and he was never going to get the best beats. The best beats were always going to go to Jay, and he still made classics even having that handicap. You know what I'm saying? Because let's just say, Sigel never had the opportunity to have a Get Rich or Die Trying. because those beats would have gone to Jay. Or the best ones would have gone to Jay. If you sit there and listen to the Blueprint and listen to Kanye West talk, who's very honest about a lot of those tracks were supposed to be for Sigel. But Jay heard them.
So, and if you listen to some of those tracks, you almost get the feeling that Sigel being left off the Blueprint is intentional. Beanie would have smashed some of those records. Like Heart of the City, Mike, he would have destroyed Heart of the City.
That's a good, you know what? I never thought about that. Why is Sigel not on the Blueprint? You know, especially seeing what he was doing at the time. He was in his... There's no excuse for that. He was in his prime.
Right.
We already saw what he could do on It Can't Be Life.
Like people thought that Sigel was a top 5 MC too when the Blueprint came out. Like it was Jay and Nas at 1 and 2, but like Sigel was considered to be a top 5-ish MC around that time. There was no reason to leave him off the Blueprint.
I mean, he was supposed to be Scottie Pippen, right? That's what they were saying in articles. And so you're telling me that the only feature...
Like if he was gonna be Scottie Pippen, he was about to be like the best Scottie Pippen, like that they're like.
But that's what they were saying in magazines. Like Jay was, you know, saying like, look, Sigel is this, Sigel is this, Sigel is this. And when Sigel hit stride, because he was saying a lot of this when The Truth came out, and Sigel got even better. And when he hit stride, and he proved that he could really kill a Kanye track, and you know what I'm saying, had Scarface on there with his Can't Be Life. How do you take that whole soulful notion and make a whole project and Sigel's not on there at all?
Mike, the verse Crew Love, Mike, off Belly.
Yeah.
Is he everywhere, Mike? He smashes almost everything he touches.
I mean, I was told too, and I don't know how true this is, but I heard this. It's a rumor, I guess, allegedly, right? First single on Volume 3, that was Sigel's song. Do it again? Yeah.
I can see that.
And that's why Sigel had that verse, and then Jay came in the way he did. So that was supposed to be his track. But see, again, Sigel was incredible and had a great catalog with those kind of handicaps. Because none of the greats have those handicaps where you make something hot and then the top guy's going to take your shit. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that he's been able to do that, even with that, I have to put that in consideration. And I do think Sigel is a top-level talent.
He's a top 5 MC, Mike. He can rhyme with Jay, Nas, Big, Rakim.
He's proven it.
Thought, you name it.
He was in a group with Thought, like you said. I mean, they were in a duo together.
When they were kids, Mike. And if you really want to know the truth, Mike, when I listened to Sigel, had Sigel stayed on and in rhythm, even despite those handicaps that you're talking about, he would be where Black Thought is lyrically right now. And I mean that, and I'm dead ass serious. That's how nice Sigel is.
Yeah.
Like what Black Thought is to the craft of MCing. Like, how about this? You know what Ray kind of is to the craft of lyricism and MCing to the streets? Like, Siegel's the only guy that came after Ray that I feel like could have took that from Ray.
I don't know what to say, man. And, you know, we don't even think about a lot of these things because, you know, we kind of just look at stuff for what it is. But, yes, Sigel is a top-level talent. And, you know, no disrespect to anybody, but I don't think that Sigel and Nori is the matchup that we would need. I think it more looks like Sigel and Jada, even though Jada's already done his. But it would have to be somebody of that realm and of that level for it to really be interesting. But
I mean, look, once Kiss did the thing with Fab, I think anybody viable for Sigel went out the window because Jada lyrically and Sigel are comparable, and nobody else around when you really check outside of styles from his era is comparable to Sigel lyrically.
Sigel's versatility is very understated as well because, like you said, he could do a Feel It in the Air, he could jump on a Timberland track, and I can honestly say, and I know I say this about Rakim and Biggie, I don't think I really heard Sigel on a track where he sounded uncomfortable. And he was trying a lot of different things.
Mike, there were some joints on The Reason that I didn't love what he did with the records, even if he didn't sound uncomfortable. I just felt like there were some tracks he should have just kind of left those off and did something else. But you spoke to something when you said that he was always comfortable, even if he did the wrong thing.
Yeah, I mean, even that that song with Snoop, the Neptunes produced, You know what song I'm talking about? Where
No,
Snoop had the hook.
yeah,
Yeah,
sicker than you
yeah. He
average.
sounded good on that.
Mike, he's spitting crazy on there.
He is.
Straight to the point like Nash is.
Yeah.
Niggas press their luck, get bucked like ashes.
Oh, now that's a good one. Somebody in the chat, Rich Ogbo, said Beans versus Method Man. Now I'm with that. I think that's a little bit more of my speed there. Beans is the
Mike,
underdog there, but still, I like that.
Mike, I like that too because of all my favorite MCs, those are the only guys that I say are top 5 talents, as in they're not in the top 10.
Right.
Those are the only 2 guys I actually feel that way about. Like when I talk about Method Man and Sigel specifically, I say top 5 talent, as in they're not in the top 5 or 10, for different career reasons,
but they've all rapped with the best of the best and damn near was.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not a question of like skill and spit game wise where they belong. That's why I speak about them that way. So that's really, really viable. I was thinking in terms of style, Beanie Sigel and Scarface would be a better matchup stylistically speaking.
But see, I think that, and playing devil's advocate here,
Sigel has a little brother.
Huh?
That's like Big Brother, Little Brother too, though. You know
what
I'm saying?
It is. But Scarface doesn't have the bangers that Sigel could pull from, like with a Rock the Mic or whatever. But Method Man does. I think that their style, that stylistically, they're a little bit more comparable in the range of things that they've covered. You know what I mean?
No, they're comparable MCs. They both have. I think Method Man's delivery is better, but Siegel's delivery is ridiculously sick.
Yeah.
Meth has him on the voice and on the delivery. I would give Sigel the slight edge on straight up and down lyricism. Siegel's made the better albums too, so yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that. I mean, I think Method Man would win, just off of Wu-Tang classic stuff.
I was about to say, Mike,
but
Method Man classic stuff is classic as classic gets. Mike,
I think it would, that matchup would look more. That matchup would look more like the X and Snoop one. I think, And yeah, and with Sigel being X and Meth being Snoop in that matchup, I think that's what that looks like. All right, well, before go ahead.
Sigel don't got nothing for "I'll Be There for You" or "Cream" or "Ice Cream," even for all his bangers.
Well, I mean, Meth just got a hook on "Ice Cream" and "Cream," so we just said that we shouldn't do hooks.
Mike, those are 2 of the best hooks ever. I told you, Cream is the best hook
so you make an exception.
Mike, Cream is the best hook ever. Mike, I told you, Mike, you can walk up to a 50-year-old white woman right now or white dude and be like, "Cash rules everything around me." And they would look back at you and say, "Cream, get the money."
we should try that theory out. Yo,
Mike, that's why I'm telling you that. What do you mean? Like, Mike, you already know how I get down.
I personally think Shook Ones might be it, but that's just me. I mean, between the 2 though, I like Ice Cream's hook better than all of them.
Ice Cream's hook is more intricate if we're talking about the craft of MCing and writing the hook. That's what I mean. Those are 2 of the greatest hooks ever. One is more catchy, but one intricately is just like so well written in the expression of the meaning of the song that it's just like it's classic. You gotta bring the pain.
We're 30 minutes in. I know we gotta go. Who you got in this matchup? You got Dipset or you got the LOX?
As much as like I want to pick the LOX, like I'm gonna take the underdog. I'm gonna pick Dipset. I'm gonna pick Dipset. I think the Chic thing and the fact that Kiss has already done the verses is gonna hurt. So like my heart is telling me to pick the LOX because I'm on bar loving, But Mike, when I was listening to the records, I was like, ride or die bitch beating Dipset anthem. I don't think so.
Right. No. I agree, and for the same reason.
Mike, is Recognized beating Oh Boy?
No. The LOX are gonna have to get very creative because, like we said, we know what the Diplomats are gonna play, and the LOX. I think the LOX can really get really creative. Maybe what's the name of that song? It was on a mixtape where they was going at 50 over the I Shot Ya beat. They can
I
go,
know.
yeah.
See, that's what I mean. See, like if you get into the mixtape stuff, you got to keep in mind, like the Locks have done so much mixtape stuff. I don't even know if that's a wise avenue because they might lose some people in that who are not like core fans. You
I
know?
think that they could shock people and be like, "Yo, what song is that? I need to go find
Yeah.
that song."
Like like one of my favorite records they did was the Mighty Mighty D Block, like where
Mm.
they had the like marching, like coming in at the start of the song
You
and
like
kissing.
that?
Yeah, I like that. Like that would be a great way to start off the verses. That's what I'm saying. But if they overthink it, like the heads know that stuff. Like cats don't know that stuff that I just mentioned. You know what I'm saying?
They got to go street, man, because these Dipset songs are just so massive and so
Them
heavy in the street.
Dipset songs, Mike, they fly high, no lie. You
Yeah,
know this.
I'm going with the Dipset, man, and you know it's I guess they're the underdog in this. It
Yeah.
looks like it in the poll. Before we leave, let me pull up the poll, man, and see what people were saying because I think that the Locks was smashing them in the polls. So I guess in that scenario, yes, we are going with the underdogs. Yeah, 4,000 votes, and the Locks are winning 56% to 44%.
It could be some recency bias to that too, because the Locks have been, more around and viable as a group,
I
especially in the
think I
last
think
couple.
there's some Jadakiss and Styles P bias.
I mean, I love me some Kissing Styles, Mike. It's hard picking against those guys. They're epically great.
Yeah, they are, and they got a lot to choose from. So, yeah. With that being said, we saw how the premiere and RZA thing panned out. I think the person that has way more to choose from and more room for error doesn't fare well in these situations because Dipset has way less room for error, and I think all three of the guys know what their biggest things are. I think Chic is kind of an X factor in this. If we can come with some of the best Chic stuff, then the Locks can take it.
Hey, Mike, you want to know what I think they should do? Like eventually, and a lot of the reason why I think they should do this is about the catalog
Mm-hmm.
and how the game went. I think they need to do like a 4 or 5 way '80s verses where they can get, because I think all those guys are in a place that you can get Rakim and Kane and KRS and G-Rap and Slick Rick and Run Room and let them all let off about 5 to 10 tracks apiece.
I think
They
that'd
got
be
enough
cool.
to do that. Yeah, like do it like 4 the hard way or 5 the hard way or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something that I think they should look into doing because I'm not seeing like like just for the sake of the culture, like need to hear. I think people from this generation need to hear those records and see who these guys really are live. Like people need to see Kane live that never seen Kane.
Yeah, yeah. Especially he's performing at such a high level at this point
Right.
in his career too.
You need to hear KRS-One freestyle for a minute. You
Well,
need to
people
hear
need to hear.
Mike.
Also, people need to hear some of the records that some of their favorite records come from. I mean, if
Right.
people knew how many lines people take from Slick Rick, I think that they might delve in a little bit more.
Ridiculous how much Slick Rick's been taken from. Like everybody done take like all of your favorite rappers have taken from Slick Rick. Biggie, Nas, Jay, Snoop. Like pick a favorite rapper, Mike.
And we were talking about Paid in Full the other day, and the weakest song on there, what we deem the weakest song on there, is the song that Eminem got his "I Am" hook from. So yeah, I think a lot of people just need to be revisited on that, and some generations just don't know. But I mean, these guys' music, I mean, it's current because there's so many people who have taken pieces of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to hear those joints so like you can understand the process of how we got to this point. That's part of it.
All right, well, man, I'm gonna see you tomorrow. We're gonna go live at our normal time, 7:30 or 8 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about the Vince Staples album. I think we're gonna talk a little bit more about some of this too. There was a lot of things that I wanted to say about the Sigel. I think we, covered a lot, but Sigel needs an appreciation day, man, because I don't think people get it, and it's so recent. I don't want to say recent, but it's so evident where he really belongs here. I think we should have a show where we talk about the weight classes, man, because I think things are kind of messed up when we're out here talking about a Nori and Siegel versus. I mean, because in the primes of everything going on, that wouldn't have even been considered.
Okay, so like for me, like just real quick, Beanie Siegel's a better MC than Common.
Huh?
Beanie Siegel's a better MC than Common to me.
I agree.
No, like I'm just saying, I'm just like if you want to start talking weight class, like that's what I'm saying. Because
Okay.
Common would probably fall at the bottom end of my heavyweight weight class.
You know what, man? I agree. But
Like
Common is
him and
falling
LL,
off this. He's falling off
him,
of the heavyweight class.
right. And so, like, so if we want to start having those types of conversations, we can, because somebody like Common is historically considered to be better than Siegel, but not necessarily outside of catalog. There are other factors.
So where does, real quick before we go, where does an AZ fall in stuff like this?
AZ was probably, to me, the most underrated MC ever before Siegel. I would put Siegel ahead of AZ lyrically on the same level. Siegel's more versatile and a better songmaker.
Is AZ a heavyweight class MC?
Yeah, Mike, he is. He would be on that low end, too. He is. There's just no... I mean, what's that stuff he said on Do or Die? Before we ever have some titty boppers try to stop us, we'd rather put our heads through the propellers of a helicopter. Yeah, that's heavyweight shit.
Oh, man, they're in here saying that Common is better than Beans. Oh, man,
Yeah,
that's a good one, man.
Yeah, now we're about to talk, Mike. Yeah, we about to talk about that, Mike.
Okay, all right, let's talk about that. Let's talk about these weight classes. I want to ask you another question before we get off of here, because that just brings up an interesting one. Is AZ better than Styles P to you?
Ooh, right.
I don't think so. I don't think.
Hold on. Same level to me, because I feel like both of them should have had better solo careers, but both of them as MCs and lyricists, although they do different things, really perform at a high level. So I would consider that to be more of a wash. I would probably prefer to hear Styles on a day-to-day basis.
I think Styles is better. And to respond to this Common and Beans thing, I think Common in his prime and where he was going, obviously, I think he was top level in his class. But I think over the years, we've seen Common level out. And I don't know, man. I think that Beans might... I don't know. I think based on catalog, it's hard to say that Beans is better than Common, but I understand what you're talking about. You're talking about intangible things. You're talking about, feel it in the airs and stuff like that. And those are things that Common just can't do.
No, Mike, if we just weight classing it, like just pound for pound, and like we picking up, Siegel over Common, yeah.
Siegel would beat Common in a battle. I believe that. And again, Mike, like what I just said before,
Mike, Siegel's the type of problem I don't think people understand. If Jay and Nas were standing on the other side, like there's not a guarantee that they're winning that. Like he's like that. That's what I mean when I was talking about thought. Like no, like he got that type of capability where it's like I don't care who's on the other side.
Right. I think we all can agree over time. I think we all agree over time that Black Thought is a better MC than Common, right?
That used to be a conversation, though.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it used to be a conversation, and things change. And again, I factor in the handicap that Beanie Sigel has had in his career, being under Jay in Jay's prime, where he was not going to get the best stuff because the best stuff was going to go to Jay, and he still made classics.
Mike, Beanie everywhere, Mike. I just remembered Adrenaline from When Things Fall Apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? That period also handicapped some of his features and stuff too. He could have done a lot more if he was like the number one guy somewhere else and he had number one guy talent. So that wasn't even a question. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
Like when I think of Siegel, like Siegel to me, it's like there are only a few guys in the top 10 that I even think lyrically would even want to like go step like the Sigel. Like that's what I'm saying. Like Thought would do it. Like Rakim, like Nas. Like listen to what I'm talking about, dude.
Yeah.
Jay, like that.
But we just said it. Jay didn't want
Hey, Mike,
Beanie Sigel on the blueprint for some reason.
Mike, what happened to Kiss, Mike?
What do you mean? What happened to Kiss?
What Sigel do to Kiss, Mike?
Oh yeah, I've always been of the mindset that Siegel's better than Kiss, but that's just my opinion. I think that Kiss has the catalog, and again, it's tough to refute, but I do think that Siegel made better solo albums than Kiss. I know that Siegel beat Kiss in the battle, right? I know that Siegel has records that Kiss just can't make. So that's just my way of thinking, but I feel if somebody feels like Kiss is better than Siegel, I get it. But me personally, that battle showed me a lot.
But listen to what. So Kiss is considered by a lot of people to be a top 10 or top 10-ish MC, correct?
Correct.
So listen to what we're saying about Siegel and the fact that they got into a battle when they were both in their primes. And Siegel came out the victor and has made better albums. What does that say about Siegel if people look at Kiss as a top 10 MC? That means they need to be looking at Siegel the same way and maybe slightly above, which would put him more in a Black Thought, Nas, big type of territory if he's ahead of Kiss.
And the thing is, Kiss was the guy, I think he might have been like the most hyped, I don't want to say free agent, but his debut album, there was so much hoopla and hype around it. So he had all hands on deck. He had the pick of the litter when it comes to production or whoever he was working with. Siegel, once again, had that Rockefeller handicap where he was never going to make the best album in Rockefeller because it had to come through Jay first. Jay had to sign off on whatever was going to be on Siegel's album, and if it was something that Jay liked as an artist, he was going to get it. Jadakiss didn't have those kind of handicaps. He didn't have DMX here having to sign off on his project. You know what I mean?
No, Mike. I mean, and Kiss the Game Goodbye wasn't like a bad album, but people looked at Kiss like he had next, like Nas Big J type of next.
Right.
Right.
All right, man. We can talk all day on this, but yeah, let's finish this tomorrow. We got a lot to talk about tomorrow. But yeah, we want to show Vince Staples' album that came out last week a lot of, the appropriate love, because I don't think we were able to cover it the way that we needed to. So I'm going to holler at you tomorrow, sir.
All right.
All right.